Hello, 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 YouTube. Troy here, DMT Tabletop Gaming. I'm going to be doing my first numero uno video response for the community, RPG Brigade. I've noticed from some of the YouTube providers, content providers out there, they've been putting out videos talking about the darker side of RPG. And Shelves of Shame, or Shelves of Hope, as Rumslinger just put it out there this morning, and I thought I'd talk about this as it relates to me. Not grand theory of why people do what they do. I'll just relate it to myself and my own personal experience. I've only been back in the hobby since 2015. So 2 years. Got back in with 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons release. Happy about that because I've now grown and blossomed and learned much about the RPG hobby that I wouldn't have known 20 years ago when I played Dungeons & Dragons exclusively. And therein lies a big issue for me when it comes to having games that never get played. Even though I have games that I never play, I do still hold them in high regard with value. The reason being, I use them as an educational tool for me to understand the hobby further. Where it's been in the past, games that were out when I was playing 2nd edition Dungeons & Dragons, but never knew about because of where I was from, the people I was playing games with. We really didn't explore beyond Dungeons & Dragons at that time. So now, coming back in the hobby after the fact, I missed all those older games that were popular, the classic World of Darknesses, all the games that were being released by Chaosium or Palladium. It is now upon me to go back and rediscover those games. Unfortunately, rediscovery doesn't mean that I'm going to get a chance to play them. People like to play new games, the new hotness I've found in the communities I belong to. And as such, even though I acquired games like a full line of classic World of Darkness, I don't see a lot of people out there running the storyteller system. Does that devalue it for me, however? It does not. If we look over my shoulder here, you'll see that I have a stack of 6 splat books for Rogue Trader. Now, I just purchased those and they just arrived yesterday. Rogue Trader came out in 2009, uses a percentile system produced by Fantasy Flight. I got these for very cheap. $7 each for a 150-page book per. Good value, I would say, for the production values that Fantasy Flight provide. I'm interested in 40K. I'm newly interested in 40K. And I'm newly interested in the percentile system that's used in these systems, these game lines. It was a good purchase at $7 each. Will I get a chance to play Rogue Trader? I hope so, but it's not a guarantee. It's not a game that you see popping up in Google Plus groups or in the Brigade or the OSG. It's not a game that's extremely popular, but it is a game that intrigues me and something that I'm interested in learning more about. But at the price point, I'm okay with that, even though I just read the books. Now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to show you my shelf. My shelf, 2 distinct types of games. Games that I bought to play. I need the core rule book. I'm going to play this game. Got to buy the core rule book at least. That's my mentality typically. And games that I bought cheap for the purposes of nothing else, reading material, and or to give me insight into the hobby. So even the games that don't get played in grouping number 2, I still hold in very high regard. So I don't personally consider them shameful purchases or games that are just collecting dust, because I have read most of them. And even though I might never play them because they're not currently popular, or because they're not games that after reading them I feel the need to go out and create the games myself, they have given me something. And for that alone, I'm grateful. But we'll go over and have a quick look at my shelf, shall we? Top shelf, literally and figuratively, are the games that I currently play and cherish and bought solely because I plan to play them at the time of purchase, or will be playing them in the near future. We'll just go through them quickly. Mouse Guard, Lamentations, Savage World, Fate, Dungeons and Dragons, which got me, 5th edition rather, that got me back in the hobby. I'm going to always be grateful for this. For my appreciation for RPGs now would not exist if not for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. So even though people pile on it now because it's been out for a while and that's a popular thing to do, for me it will always be cherished. Edge of the Empire, Force and Destiny. I have Age of Rebellion around summer too, but it's not here currently. These 3 core books are my favorite RPG right now, hands down. Fantasy Flight's Star Wars system is my favorite system. I play it bi-weekly. We're 22 sessions in online. I played it at home. It is well worth every penny spent. Numenera is another game that I bought when I first got back in the hobby. Played it a lot. Just currently started running it, but that too is a game I like a lot. Dungeon Crawl Classics is a game that is my current favorite fantasy role-playing game. It's a game I've run online and plan to run and play in face-to-face as well. Next up, there are a couple games that I have yet to play but will play in the future. Mutant Year Zero, the dice D6 mechanisms in play here are something that appeal to me, and I really want to learn the system. Runeslinger got me introduced to Ubiquity from his videos and his discussions about it, and I decided to buy Leagues of Adventure as my entry point into the system. Haven't played it yet, but I will. Symbaroum is another game I just recently acquired at Christmas, I believe. It was a gift from my wife. Thank you, wife. This game I have played. I'm currently running a mini campaign online, and it's a game I see myself playing a lot in the future. These are all games that I purchased with the intent of playing. Paid full price, expensive new books. But I was okay with it because I know I would use them either, right away or down the line. So those are definitely not books of shame. However, if we go down to the next shelf, you'll see that I have a large collection. Not large, I'm sure I don't have anywhere near all the books, but anyway, large for me, of classic World of Darkness. Now, I acquired all of these books, all of these book lines: Hunter the Reckoning, Wraith the Oblivion, Werewolf the Apocalypse, Vampire Dark Ages, and Normal Werewolf, Arthur Pendragon 4th edition, and Hackmaster. These 2 shelves of books I acquired in one lot deal that averaged out to $1 per book. I bought them hungrily, adding them to my collection. I've read them, I've enjoyed them, I've played none of them. Will they get played? I don't know. I doubt it. Not a lot of people out there playing the storyteller system now. But for me, it was a good purchase because it taught me, educated me about the storyteller system. Now when people are talking about classic World of Darkness, I have a point of reference. And for me, that's very valuable, even if I never play the game. I missed out on all those games. I never played them. I didn't even know they existed. So even though it's 20 years late to the party, at least I can participate in said party. At least discussing about the party, if not playing, and enjoying the party itself. Warhammer Fantasy 3rd Edition. I bought this after getting introduced to the Star Wars system, this being the precursor to it, and Warhammer, which I enjoy. I decided to give it a chance for the dice mechanisms, and hopefully I can get this played with my group in the future. As of yet, it has not been played. And finally, we'll look at the 1st and 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons that I have. When I got back in the hobby in 2015, I purchased this individual pieces and collections just so that I could have some books from my youth, things that I would have played when I was growing up. So, here we go. Some books I buy for the intent of playing. Some books I buy with knowing truly that I might never play them, but if they're cheap enough, I'll buy them anyway, just so I can use them as learning tools or to harvest information and ideas from. And in that sense, even though they sit here unplayed, I don't sit here and rub them and complain about it. I actively play games. And even games that I know I won't play, I enjoy reading. So, yeah, there's my shelves. Some of them can be perceived as shameful, but for me, they're a great tool, and I'm thankful to have them. Cheers.